Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Club Junkie podcast. One of the final episodes of 2023, which is crazy to think about that this year is almost over. So we got 2 weeks, and that's it, which is absolutely insane. So before we get into today's episode, I just want to let you know this episode is brought to you by Titleist and the Pro V1 and Pro V1X golf ball. Listen, to the golf season may be winding down in many places, but the holiday gift-giving season is starting to heat up. So whether the golfer on your lists are still out playing or just stocking up for the next season, Titleist golf balls make the perfect gift. Any golfer would be thrilled to unwrap a dozen Titleist Pro V1, Pro V1X, Pro V1 Left Dash, or AVX golf balls because these aren't just any golf balls. Golfers know they're the very best, most trusted in the world, and they deliver the most performance they need to shoot their lowest scores. It's what makes the number one ball in golf the number one gift in golf as well. Make the holidays even happier this season. Learn more about gifting Titleist Pro V1, Pro V1X, Pro V1 Left Dash, and AVX golf balls, and all things Titleist at Titleist.com. So, if you're looking for a gift, I play the Pro V1X. I should do custom numbers, but I don't. But if you want to do custom numbers, I'm a 56 guy. But I actually did do 56. I did numbers for 1 year. I did Titleist TP5s, or Titleist TaylorMade TP5s, and I ordered, I don't remember how many dozens, but number is 56. It was my old high school football number, which is stupid and cliche, but whatever. And they were actually, it was kind of cool. And you went and found your ball in the woods and all that. It was pretty easy to find. You just went up there and 56, off you went. So anyway, hopefully you guys are having a great week. I know Christmas is days away, which is insane. Hopefully you have most of your Christmas shopping done. I was smart and just married an amazing woman who did all my shopping for me for the most part. So that was pretty helpful. But yeah, it's crazy. We have this show, next show, and then we're into the next year. So 2023 Club Junkie coming to an end, which is kind of crazy. So we'll do more into 2024 and a lot of stuff there. So wild week. Just busy when you're trying to get holiday stuff done, end of the year stuff done. And honestly, if you work in the golf business, this is just an absolute busy time. We've got, product launch seasons coming up. So I've been doing you guys know I did a lot of traveling, and it's just been one of those, you're trying to get everything ready for launches, and they pretty much start beginning of January. So beginning of January, you guys are going to start seeing stuff, and it'll go pretty much all month that you guys will be seeing new equipment from a lot of people. So pretty much every manufacturer, for the most part, is going to have something new, and I've been helping cover a decent amount of it. So I'm excited. I can't wait. I've hit some of it I haven't. Some of it is sitting here in my basement with me, but I haven't hit it yet. So I've got a lot of range time I need to get, but I've had a chance to hit a good amount of product as well, and yeah, there's some really good stuff out there. I'm excited to hit more of it. I'm excited to get it on the course. I'm always excited. I always love seeing what is going to be kind of the next thing for golf equipment every year. It's just a fun thing, and it's kind of what I'm into, which most of you guys know. If you've listened to this show basically at all, you kind of know I'm an equipment nerd, like a lot of you guys are. It's just it's fun to get your hands on this new stuff and hit it. And I know there's naysayers out there that it's not any better than last year's, whatever. And you know what? The incrementally better every year it is not meant for the person who bought a club last year. If you're someone who bought last year's driver, any of these companies will tell you they're not looking to try to convert you. I mean, if it happens, great, but for the most part, they're looking to convert people who have drivers that are 5 years old, 7 years old, whatever. They're playing an old RBZ. Those are the people they're trying to get into a new driver and show some performance gains. Year to year, it's a pretty minimal percentage, or a pretty small percentage in terms of improvement. So this year, though, I think we're going to see some cool stuff. I think there's a few good stories out there in terms of woods and irons and stuff like that. So we'll see some cool tech and some good stories about that tech and where it came from, how it's utilized, all that. And I'm excited. So today's episode is going to be kind of my final what's in the bag. What was the end what's in the bag for me? A lot of this stuff hasn't changed. A lot of it is pretty much what you guys think. There's a few little changes here and there. But then I'm also going to tell you what are the chances that it stays in the bag for next year, and what are the chances that it's gone. And I will never say anything's 100% in the bag, because it never is. There is always potential that there is some new club out there that will be better, that'll, I'll hit better or whatever. so nothing in the bag is 100% safe. I think last year I kind of said that there was really nothing in the bag that was safe at all, that maybe my 7 wood, I had the PXG Gen 5 7 wood, that I said that might hold on, that could maybe stay, and then that was like almost immediately knocked out by the G430 Max 7 wood. So it just depends on what comes out and what you hit well. And there's some stuff here that I'll tell you, I already know there's at least one club that's gone already, for sure. I mean, I've hit 2 of those clubs, and or 2 different new ones. Both of them I think I may like better. One for sure I like better. I mean, so we'll get into what is going to stay, what might go, kind of what are the chances of something coming or going, and see where it goes. So this year was, I want to say, probably the least changed what's in the bag that I've ever had. And by that, I mean, I hit a ton of stuff. There was always something new in my bag. I always had something new on the course, whether it was just a different shaft, whether it was just, one new wedge, a whole set of irons, whatever. I didn't play. I think I played the same set of clubs, same 14 clubs when I went up for my guys' weekend. I played the 14 there, so I played that basically all so I played 5 rounds or 6 rounds with the same setup, and that was the most I've played the same 14 clubs and shafts in years. The last time I went up for the guys' weekend 2 years ago, I always bring a whole second bag of stuff, but I know I switched out. I think I switched out putter. I think I switched out driver. I switched some stuff out at least for one round. So this is the first year that I played, the same 14 clubs that many times, and I probably played a good majority of those anytime I really needed to play golf. Like if I was invited somewhere and someone expected me not just to be messing around, I pretty much brought close to those, so that same 14 club setup. So it really was a year that was different for me. That was odd because I don't do that kind of stuff. So getting into this year, I think, getting into next year, into 2024, I think we'll go back to, I would think we'll go back to doing a lot of changing, a lot of rotation through the bag. There's just a lot of stuff that I want to go play and I want to go hit. And living in Detroit, you just don't get as much time, on the course as you'd like. So, the more time I can kind of spread it around and hit different clubs, the more I'd rather do that. But yeah, most of the bag is going to be very similar. But there are a couple changes. So, in either end of the bag, there's a change. So that will be kind of the interesting part of it. The middle of the bag pretty much stayed the same for the most part. But yeah, so we'll start with what's in the bag. So this is my Club Junkie 2023 final what's in the bag. And all these clubs are the possibility of not being in there for 2024. So it's going to be interesting to see where it goes. So I guess we'll start at the top of the bag, which is, we'll start with driver. And really, this driver head was in all year. I finally just actually kind of made the switch shaft-wise because I've been hitting a shaft a lot. But the club that I've been hitting the driver-wise the most, the kind of the gamer, is TSR2 from Titleist. The Titleist TSR2. It's been, as you guys know, kind of the club that it's just such a good mix of forgiveness, distance, good look, good sound, good feel. Everything about it there is just, it screams Titleist. They always kind of nail the look, sound, shape, feel, all that part. And now they're really backing it up with great ball speed, good forgiveness. And the TSR2 is a good combo. It's, something where you look down at it, looks like a player's club, gives you that confidence of like, I'm a better player than I really am. And then when you're actually swinging it, letting you get away with shots that you probably should not have gotten away with for the most part. So very forgiving, little higher launching, touch higher spinning than TSR3, but just a good combo of letting me play my game at basically a 10 handicap, maybe just under. I think I'm just over at the moment when I ended the year here in Michigan. You're not allowed to post any more rounds here. If you're playing in Michigan, if I go travel, I can go post rounds, but I haven't really done that. And and when I have gone and played outside, from the travels I've had, we've always played kind of a different format or something like that. So anyway, TSR2 is the one. Kind of, well, it was before I was playing a different shaft. I was playing the Fujikura TR Blue 6X or Ventus TR Blue 6X, and I was just playing in the standard position. Now you guys know too, I use All Fit as my adapters. So when you look at the hosel adapter, the All Fit is what I've been using, which is kind of a universal system, so I can take any shaft on my wall in my collection and I can put it in just about any head. So it's just got a little driver sleeve. You'd replace the screw and then the adapter fits in. So the TSR2, I've been playing it before with the Ventus TR Blue from Fuji, and just recently kind of switched over to what we're going to call kind of the Tiger shaft now, which is the Graphite Design VF6. So the brand new VF, which just came out this year. I'm going to actually just do the humble brag thing and say that Graphite Design was nice enough to send me the shaft kind of before we saw Tiger with it. He probably had it before me. He probably was testing it before me, but I had it before we saw him at the Hero with it, and before we saw him at the PNC with it. I had one as well, and I was playing at the end of last year with this, or end of the summer into fall. I was playing with this thing. I had it, and honestly, it's my favorite Graphite Design shaft that they've made. It's a little lower launching than I probably, in a theory, need. So I do move the head up. So I've got a 10-degree TSR head, and with All Fit, I turn it up the one notch, which is up 0.75, so just under a degree. So it kind of plays like 11-degree head, and this is a VF6X. Mid-low launching. Very low spin for me, and very, very consistent, very tight, while still being really smooth. I've used this in a couple other different heads as well, as I've been messing around with some of the new heads that I can't talk about, but have messed around with some of these, or the shaft and some other heads as well, and just really liked it. I had it actually at X Golf the other day with my two brothers-in-law, and had it with a head that I can't talk about yet, and hit it really, really well on the simulator there, which, I know doesn't necessarily mean anything, but out on the course, I've been playing this combo a little bit near the end of the year, and just really, really liked it. Probably the stiffest handle section any Graphite Design shaft that they've made, and probably the lowest spinning for me that I've hit. It's just, like I said, a great combination of being smooth, mid-low launching, and really low spin. I've hit this shaft in at least 4 heads, driver heads. I don't think I've seen a spin number that went over 3,000, and that does happen with other shafts, especially if I hit something a little bit right, flare it, whatever. You'll see some slightly higher spin numbers from me. And I'm a guy who lives around that like 2,600 RPM range, and I'm routinely a couple hundred RPM lower with this shaft. So for me, been very low spin, but very consistent, very, very straight, and I've hit a lot of fairways with it, and I've really liked it. So the TR Blue has been phenomenal. I'd have no problem putting that back in. The launch on that and everything is is great. But the VF6 right now has just kind of been in the bag, and I've been really, really confident with it, and I like the way it plays, and I've been hitting it pretty solid for the past, couple months that I've had it. I've probably had it 2 months or something like that. So a really solid shaft. I really like it. I know people are going to say, "Oh, you're just copying Tiger," but I may have had it. I had it before the Tiger hype. Let's put it that way. Before the Tiger hype. He just may have had it before me, but we didn't see it in his hands. So the black and red combo looks pretty cool too. The gloss black kind of matches the TSR2 head. And been a really good fairway finder, and just something that I feel comfortable with, whether it's a tight hole, whether it's wide open, anything like that. I just feel kind of confident with it that I can hit the fairway and hit a decent drive. So this has been kind of the gamer at the end of the year. I know a lot of people were probably expecting to see the TR Blue in here, but just switched it out kind of at the end of the year now. So this going into next year, chances of survival, decent. I would say it's definitely not safe. I've hit some other drivers that I do like and that have performed well. So this one is definitely going to get a challenge. There's some good drivers coming out. I haven't hit them all yet. There's still a couple that I need to hit. And it's going to be kind of a head-to-head battle. So chances of this one staying in the bag are like I said, are decent. I would say it's kind of a 50-50 shot. Does it stay in the bag? Is something new, knock it out? There's definitely a chance. As I said, out of the 4 new drivers that'll be out between Ping, TaylorMade, Callaway, and PXG, and some others. Well, those 4 that I know for sure. I've hit 2 of them, or 2 series, and so far really liked what I've seen. So it's going to be close. I'm going to give it a 50-50 shot. There's a chance that this thing stays. I mean, I don't think this is going to get passed up. I think it's still going to hang with all the new stuff as well. But there's a legit chance that it goes away. And then shaft-wise, it's all going to depend. I did a fitting into one of the new drivers just recently in the past couple weeks, and got fit into a shaft that I've never really had a whole lot of success with, and then took it out on the course and hit it well. So, who knows? But I think the VF, the Ventus TR Blue, something like that will probably always be hanging around, lurking. I know, I mess with that Mitsubishi Tensei 1K Pro Blue and some others. I really like a handful of shafts, and I've got a few more coming in the future as well, which is pretty nice. I've got a couple shafts that are on their way now, and then I think there may be 1 or 2 in the future, into next year that I'll be testing as well. So that combo, I give it a 50-50 shot of staying in the bag. I think even if it gets technically knocked out for something new next year, I think it still has a chance. I mean, it's still going to be in the rotation, of taking it out and hitting it and playing it, because it is just really that good. So was a great driver this year. Honestly, it's probably one of the better driving years that I've had in a little while. And I've played some decent golf this year. It started off a little slow near the end of the year. Definitely picked it up and played a little better, even though my scores didn't really show it. For the most part, it was wedges and stuff like that kind of kept me down from scoring well. But I drove it well, hit it off the tee well. It was just, some of the stuff around the green that wasn't quite as good. But that setup was really solid. And, I'm excited to get some of the new stuff on the course to see if it beats the old trusty TSR2 out. So that one there, legit chance. We'll keep it at that. And unfortunately, I can't talk about what I've hit, what I haven't hit, and what's been good. But, there's stuff creeping up on it, which will be very, very interesting. So moving down the bag, the 3-wood that I've been playing all year and still kind of been still a big fan of, the Callaway Paradigm Triple Diamond. So the Triple Diamond 15 degree with a Fujikura Speeder NX Blue 70X. This was kind of my gamer all year, and hit it off the tee, phenomenal. Could hit it off the deck pretty well. I wouldn't say it was the most amazing off the deck, but I like the shape, I like the sound, feel. I thought the ball speed was really good on it, even miss hits. And for being a triple diamond, which is typically the more demanding, more compact, more demanding head, really had some forgiveness to it. I felt like you could, kind of hit it a little bit on the, a little bit all over the face and still get away with some good shots. And just an overall, I think, kind of underrated head when it came to 3-woods. And again, I like the shape. I know what Callaway did with this thing this year. It's compact, but it's still not super, super tiny when you set it down. Like, there's still some club there that lets you know you can get away with, getting away with some poor swings. And then the Speeder NX Blue has actually been a shaft that I pulled out of a TaylorMade 3-wood previously before this one. And it was in a Sim 2 Max. Yanked it out of there and put it in here, and have been a huge, huge fan. So this has been in the bag all year. And honestly, the funny thing is, the kind of second place, something that actually started kind of creeping up on it near the very end of the year, was the Stealth 2 Plus, the one with the big sliding weight in the back, with a Ventus Red 7X. And I played that a lot at the end of the year, and honestly, they were becoming very, very close. I'll give the edge to the Paradigm. I think the Stealth I hit a little bit better off the deck. This I hit a little bit better off the tee, so I'll give the nod to the Paradigm Triple Diamond. But that Stealth 2 Plus was coming on pretty strong at the end of the year. I wish I would have built that setup earlier in the year. I think it would have been a great, great battle between the two. So 3-woods for me have been tough. As you guys, if you followed along at all, I had an XR16 back in 2016 that I kept for like 3 years. Absolutely loved it. It was kind of like the crutch in my bag, and then I got rid of it to go to something new. And this is kind of the first 3-wood that I've kind of felt really comfortable with out on the course. And everything else, it was, I kind of felt good for a little bit, or I'd hit some certain shots that were good, but other ones I couldn't. This was one of the first ones I felt comfortable being able to hit it off the deck, hit it off the tee, and doing both. Doing off the tee, phenomenal, and hitting off the deck reasonably well. So everything else, that's where the struggle was. And if I found something that I hit off the deck really well, then I struggled off the tee with it. So typically, if I hit it off the deck really well and it got up in the air and it was easy to hit, when I got to the tee, it would be kind of a high, spinny, short shot and wouldn't go anywhere. So this was a great combo between the two, and I've really been a big fan of this head and everything about this club. And then, but going into next year, it's gone. It'll be gone. It's I've hit two. I've hit a couple fairways, and let's just put one of them will already go in the bag over this. It'll be kind of a really battle to see which one of these new ones, and then there's some new stuff that I haven't hit yet that I still want to hit, but there is already a 3-wood that I would put in the bag over this right now. A little different shaft than I have, but I got fit into it and played. What did I play with it? I played 27 holes with it, and so far, I would put that in the bag over this right now. So I can't talk about it yet. We'll talk about that club next year, but there is that, and then there are another 3-wood that I was hitting on the range that I really like. I was hitting it way better than I thought I would, and I can't wait to get it out to the course and try it out there, but I was really kind of comfortable with it right out of the gate on the range. So right now, one for sure ahead, maybe two, and I still have a couple to hit. So this bad boy is unfortunately gone. It will leave the bag after this year. When we get into next year, it probably won't be in the rotation. There'll just be other things in there, but this guy will unfortunately, it had its year in the sun, and that's going to be it. So for me, that's the thing is versatility with a 3-wood. Can you hit it off the deck? Can I hit it off the tee? And can I do both reasonably well? And right now, there's already a 3-wood that I do both of those things better with. So this guy was great. Triple Diamond. I really enjoyed it, and I think Callaway made a great 3-wood there. I mean, if it's something where you're looking for a compact 3-wood that looks great and does kind of a little bit of everything, does it all well, I'd say take a look at that Triple Diamond. And it's definitely more forgiving than you think. It's definitely not, scratch handicaps or under, that type of club. You can be like me and still play that thing with no problem. But unfortunately, there's just other things out there, which is a bummer. So the next one we'll go to is the old 7-wood. So the 7-wood, you guys know I put in a couple years ago. I started doing a 7-wood, and again, I had a PXG Gen 5 7-wood that was kind of custom built for me, set flat, lower, had some heavier weights, a little bit shorter. And then and that was a great gamer. I loved it. And then the Ping G430 Max came along, and that was kind of the end of that. The PXG just kind of unfortunately got beat out by the G30, and the G30 Max is just one of those that off the deck, it's for me, it's almost automatic. It goes high in the air. It goes a good ways. It's very straight, very forgiving, good ball speed across the face. Just everything about what you think a G430 Max is, which is very forgiving. That's what it does. And again, launches super high. And then teeing it up, it's pretty good. Because I do tee this thing up on some short par 4s on my home course where I play my league and stuff. And now you do have to take a little bit more care in those shots because it is such a shallow face. But I tell you what, if you kind of de-loft it a little bit and hit some shots, you can get it out there pretty good. I've hit some pretty long drives off the tee that even I was shocked at kind of how far they went. But just a really great head, easy to get in the air, and super easy to hit off the deck. If it's sitting in the fairway, and for me, you've got 210 into the green, like this thing is going to have, like this is what you're pulling, and I'm feeling pretty confident I'm going to be able to get it on the green. And then this one here, it had just like the Ping Tour 2.0 shaft in it, the chrome one, and this one now has a Ventus TR Blue 8 stiff that I tipped like an extra half-inch over whatever the 7 wood normal tipping was, and installed it there, and it is cut down a little bit. I can't remember the exact length, but it is just a little bit shorter than a stock 7 wood. So the TR Blue in here has been great, kind of that mid to maybe even a hair mid-low launching shaft into this 7 wood head. I think that combination being kind of a low spin shaft, high launch head, just made it really, really, long for what it is, consistent and really accurate. I mean, all these TRs with the Velo core are just easy to hit, and they just want to go straight, and this is what this thing's set up for. So I've been really enjoying it, and I found at near the end of the year, much more comfortable hitting it off the tee, which is where I kind of struggled with it when I first put it in the bag. Just because of the shallow face. The PXG is just a much, much deeper face when you set them down next to each other. So that off the tee was a little bit kind of more comfortable. But now that I've done this more, by the end of the year with this, I was pretty comfortable hitting this thing off the tee, just teeing it down kind of low. And if I could, kind of de-lofting it as I hit it. And, maybe add a little spin, but hitting a little lower shot out there that ranged a little bit further. So really a great club. This one I actually have set. It's a 21 degree head for the 7 wood. I have it set down 1 and flat. So it is 20 degrees and flat, and it doesn't go left. When you set it up, you set it down, it pretty much sets up pretty neutral. It doesn't set up shut or anything like that. And, the shape is just a little bit triangulated near the back. It's just got a little bit of pointiness to it, but I don't really mind. I've kind of gotten, it's not a big deal. I don't really notice it, and it's just been a really, really solid 3 wood, and just something that I think has helped my game a lot. I think this is, going into greens, it's for me better than a hybrid. Off the tee, I've gotten to the point where I'm comfortable enough to hit it off the tee, as well as I was probably hitting hybrid off the tee. So I might get a little more roll with a hybrid, but the overall distance is probably negligible on how far this goes compared to that. So really, really good, really solid, and I've liked it. So chances of this staying in the bag, I would say better than good. I've got another 7 wood in my hands in my basement already that I've hit, that I've played a little bit with. I've got another one that will be on the way, that will be coming. So I'll have a couple to try. It's not one of those that I'm actively looking to remove this by any means, but if something's better, it's better. I just don't know what will be. So I got to hit a couple of these new ones, see where they kind of come from, see what they do. But I think there's a better chance that this stays in the bag than, like 3 wood, which is already out. This has a little chance to stay there. I did mess around with a couple hybrids through this new year as I've been out these launch events and being able to hit stuff on the range and stuff, and I've hit some of the hybrids. And I'll tell you what, some of those hybrids definitely go a little bit higher now than some of the old ones, so they kind of compete a little bit in the same arena with the 7 wood, but I think I'll probably keep the 7 wood in the bag instead of the hybrid. And yeah, I think this has probably got out of a lot of things, it's probably got one of the better chances of staying in the bag. It's a good setup. I've built it up to where I like it, and with this like 80 gram Ventus Blue TR, just a really kind of nice setup, and I've hit it well. So is it 100% safe? No. Is it safer than a lot of other things? I'll say yes, and I just don't know if I'll find something better. But those are our famous last words, because I said that a couple years ago, and this knocked out the Gen 5 in a relatively quick time. So got a few 7 woods. We'll try them out against this. We'll hit them. We'll kind of see what the differences are. But I think this thing's somewhat safe, but it is, of course, not 100. So this one may be the one that you see back in the bag for 2024. Then we get into irons. And this one's going to be interesting. So the irons, as you probably know, long irons, my 4 and 5. Well, so I guess 4 iron would be a change. So 4 iron started off the year, ping eye crossover. Absolutely loved it. I didn't like the look. I didn't like the sound and feel, but it performed great. Off the deck, it would launch high. That face was hot. It would go a long way, and it just added a little firepower to the top end of the bag. I really liked it. When I got fit into my Titleist irons, I got the 4 iron. I didn't think I'd ever use it. I pretty much figured this would just sit in the down here in the basement, and I just used the ping eye crossover. But after a little while, I decided to, give this thing a shot and put it in the bag. And the 4-iron is now the Ping T200. So the one that matches my set. So the T200, these are the brand new T200s. I've got this, the 4 and the 5-iron in the 200, and then the rest of the set in the T150. But for a 4-iron, where that Ping was really, really good at doing a lot, this is, I think, just as good, and it looks, sounds, and feels better. I can hit it off the deck. I can hit it off the tee. It looks good when you set it down. It feels good. It sounds good. It does pretty much everything. Now, the Ping may be a touch longer. When you go head to head, it may have a couple yards on this, but nothing that's wildly different. The Ping may actually also launch just a hair higher than the 400 or than the T200, but I tell you what, this 4-iron I hit really well, and even if it's maybe a couple yards shorter and just a hair lower launch, I will take that for the sound and feel upgrade that this thing has, and the looks, just less offset, better sound, better feel. Now, it's got the steel fiber 110, which matches my iron set. I've been debating, do I put something lighter in there, like a 95 or like a Ventus, HB Blue or something like that. That could still happen this year, but right now it's going to stay the way it is. I've hit it really well the end of the year here, and it's something that I didn't expect to kind of ever put in play. I figured it would be one of those things when the T150s leave my possession, this would be like the brand new club, still on the plastic, but it's earned its way back in, and really I like hitting it off the tee a lot. It really is just it's a kind of a cannon off the tee. It's got a good amount of ball speed. Mishits aren't penalized a ton, so I will say this too: forgiveness between the eye crossover and this. I'll give the forgiveness side to the T200 a little bit. I think it definitely stays. The ball stays in play really, really well, and distance loss on mishits isn't anything crazy. The Ping may be a hair better at that, but again, this thing does pretty much everything I want it to do. Looks good, sounds good, feels good. So the T200 goes in the bag, and I don't feel bad about it. So will this? What are the chances this stays in the bag? I think it stays with the iron set. I don't think there's if the irons change, then maybe this goes. But I don't think right now there's another utility, a crossover coming out that I think has a chance. I haven't seen any that will really battle this thing out in the 4-iron. So I think this as long as the irons stay, I think this thing stays. And then also if I move on to another set of irons, I don't know. We'll see. That will be the interesting one because it'll depend on the 4-iron in that set. And then I've messed with a little 4-iron hybrid and stuff here and there as well. So I've kind of got one of those that I'm messing with that I haven't done in a few years. So there could be a chance that there's no 4-iron. But right now I think this is pretty safe as the 4-iron in the bag. I don't think I'm going to be going back to the crossover anytime really soon. And I really like the Cobra, the King utility. That was a great one as well. But I tend to be a little more consistent with this. So T200 long irons staying. And then, as I said, with the rest of the irons, T150s, which I know this is zero surprise to anyone, but T150s with the steel fiber 110s, and these have just been really good irons. They're the perfect cheater iron, as I call it, where a guy like me who wants to look at a player's club, I would love to play, a CB type, bladish type looking club from a dress. I don't have that game. I need some help, and I need a little bit of speed and height. These do that. So the 150s have a little bit of power to them with the slot in the back, a little thinner face. They've got a little deeper cavity than the standard T100s, so they've got a little bit more forgiveness. Launch is just a little bit higher than the T100s as well, and then the turf interaction is really solid with this kind of redesigned sole. So they do a whole lot of things really well. I've just played a lot of really good golf with these irons, and I don't there's not too many negatives, to be honest. I mean, I guess if you don't need the speed, if you're somebody who's got a whole lot of power, then you don't need the speed. That's fine. But for me, especially in the little longer irons, I'll take a little added distance out of these and definitely get them. But the control's still there. You can still hit, if you want to work the ball, still have that ability. And when you aren't swinging well and you kind of miss it all over the face a little bit, you still get some of that forgiveness. You're still able to hit the greens. Maybe not put it next to the hole, but you're still able to usually hit the green and get a ball that's at least playable instead of being dumped into a bunker or dumped into a weird targeted spot from coming up too short. So 6 through pitch, T150s. Chance of these leaving right now, I think they're fairly safe. I've seen some of the new irons that are coming out. I don't know if any of them will beat these in terms of true gamers. They're all going to get kind of in the rotation. I've got another, a set like my 0317 Ts from PXG that I'm going to reshaft up, and I've got the Callaway, triple play irons. I've got the P770s, so I've got a handful of irons. I think these things are pretty safe at the moment. But you never know. There's always something out there that could step up. I've got the Vega Mizar Tours that I need to put some shafts in. So there's some irons there that have a chance. But I think for right now, with what is probably coming out, in the immediate future, I think these things are pretty safe and they'll probably stay in the bag. Am I crazy confident? No, but I would say these again, kind of a little bit like the 7-1. I think this have kind of an 80% chance of staying in the bag. They're just that good. I don't see what would beat them at the moment, and I don't see anything coming down the pipeline that are going to beat them out. So they will probably stay. And then in second place, honestly, are those 0317Ts from PXG. In terms of second place, those are kind of the irons there, and then probably the Callaway triple plays. I mean, they're just those two sets of irons are really good. But right now I'm just I'm liking the T150s, and I'm just hitting them a little bit better. So again, got some new shafts coming from the PXGs, so that could help those and give them a little boost in the ratings. And then there's again a couple of sets of irons that are pretty interesting. I just don't think they'll beat it. There's a couple sets that I love the absolute look, but they're more true CB, true blade-ish, and I know I'm just probably not going to have the game to play those on a bad day. So those are probably, the T150s will probably stay in the bag with the T200 long irons, probably for part of next year. I just don't see them going. So we'll see. But we'll see. I'm never going to guarantee it. It's not going to be guaranteed that they're going to stay, but there's a good chance that those stay through next year in a rotation of many other irons. So then we get into wedges, and wedges are kind of a mixed mash. They're just a hodgepodge of stuff at the moment. So Gap Wedge is the Cleveland RTX6 Zip Core. This has been a great 50 degree. It really plays really well. I like the feel of it. I think it's a little bit softer than the previous RTXs. Good spin. Full shots are solid. This is basically the 10 degree bounce mid sole. Just really solid 50 degree. I hit a lot of full shots to maybe like 3/4 shots. So basically full shots are about 110, and then I'll hit this down to 100 yards, maybe just a hair less, depending on the shot. And then, move into the 56. But this is played for mostly full shots. I do chip with it a little bit, not as much as I probably should. I probably should chip with this thing a little bit more. But just a really solid wedge. It spins really well out of the rough, spins out of the well, out of the off a fairway lie. Pretty versatile. The only thing that I'm not comfortable, and it's more me than it is the club, is going to be long bunker shots with a 50. It's just that's not my shot. But just a really good wedge that, like I said, I like to spin on. And if you do use it around the green, hit little pitch shots, you got to fly it pretty much to the hole if it's a tight lie, because it is going to check up fairly hard. But it's pretty predictable, and it's pretty manageable when you know what it's going to do. So the Zip Core grooves I found from Cleveland have always been some of the higher spinning, and they definitely grab the ball quite a bit. The whole Zip Core technology where they kind of move some of the weight internally from the hosel and stuff. It's just a really easy wedge to swing and hit. So from full shots down to partial shots into greens to little chip and pitch shots around the green. This is used kind of a little bit everywhere, but just a really good 50. And I put it in the bag when I'm a lot of times when I travel, I'll mix things up. I'll take if I'm going to see some company, I'll bring mostly their stuff. But Gap wedges, I don't have a ton of them, so this one tends to make make a good amount of trips around, and it's been really good. The shaping's good on it. It's got a pretty straight leading edge, just a touch of roundness to it, and just a touch of offset as well. The color is kind of a brushed chrome or kind of satin chrome, and that thing looks pretty good. So just confidence inspiring when you stand over it, and really good spin. So, chances of this staying in the bag, probably not great. I've hit a few of some new wedges that'll be coming out next year, and there's a lot of good ones out there, and there's a couple that will be out. One of them is already out, the TaylorMade MG4s, which I really like. I just don't have the 50 degree. There's another set of wedges coming out in a little bit that I can't talk about yet, that I've hit those. So the chance of this being in the bag come next year are probably a little bit slim. I just think I'll probably go with something that matches up to sand and lob, or at least matches a little bit, but this will probably go. As much as I really do like it, I think it plays really well. I'm not knocking the wedge in any way. From when it comes to my 50, which is probably the least used wedge out of the three, like I said, I'll probably match it up to one of the other wedges in my bag. So this has been really good. I've really loved it, but it's probably got an 80% chance of leaving. There's probably a 20% chance of it staying, and that would just be getting the other gap wedges on the course and finding that I just don't hit them as well, which I doubt that will happen. For the shots I hit, I just don't see it, but who knows? But this is probably got a fairly good chance of leaving the bag, unfortunately. So, but a great set. If you really like wedges that spin a lot, the RTX6 zip cores are really, really solid, and they really do spin from the rough, from a tight lie when it's wet, you name it. They spin really, really well. Then you move into the sand wedge, and this one was kind of actually a surprise to me when I put this in, which is the Muno T24. The T24 56 S grind with 12 degrees of bounce. And when I put this in, I wasn't really it was kind of one of those things I just, I was hitting just to review it for the show. And I took it out and I hit it pretty well that first time out. And then I took it out again and I hit it pretty well. And I took it out again and I hit it pretty well. So it kind of earned its spot in the bag. And it's one of those, a really underrated wedge. Very soft, as you'd expect from Mizuno. Very good feel. And honestly, they actually spin better than I thought. This is, again, a little bit like the Cleveland. If it's a tight lie, you better kind of fly it a good amount of the way to the hole because it is not going to have a ton of release. The S grind is kind of like, I wouldn't call it a D grind from Vokey, but I would say it's a little bit closer to that. The bounce is pushed back just a little bit farther on the sole, I feel like, but it's still got a little bit of trailing edge relief, so you could go ahead and open it up a little bit. You're not going to be able to open it wide open to play some crazy flop shot with a 56 without the leading edge coming up a little bit. But it is pretty versatile, and you can play a lot of shots with it. And then out of the bunker, it definitely has a good amount of float. As you open the face up, that sole just kind of extends down, and it flows through the sand, especially lighter sand, really, really well. But a really solid wedge. I think the Mizuno wedges are super underrated. I think the people who do hit them realize what they do and realize how good they feel. And a lot of people will put them in play, but most people kind of pass them up by on the rack. And I think you're kind of doing yourself a little bit of a disservice without trying them. So, their faces, again, spin a really good amount. In the rough, do they spin as much as the Cleveland? Maybe not quite as much, but out of a tight lie, they check up pretty darn hard. I really like the shape. Mizuno's a little bit more rounded, a little bit softer lines on it, and that fits my eye pretty well. Minimal offset, just a touch, and again, leading edge pretty darn straight, just a touch of radius to it, just a little, roundness, but very, very little. And again, kind of just a really traditional wedge. The satin chrome looks nice. There's no glare from it. Just a wedge that plays really well. So chances of this staying in the bag, again, very, very, very high chance that this goes away. Was hitting another wedge on a range, and while I haven't got it into full-blown course mode, hitting it on the range and hitting some shots in a short game area, probably this will probably go away. There's a couple wedges that I've hit. One I have coming, one that's kind of already out, and we'll see where this goes. I just don't see where this thing stays in the bag, unfortunately. And I have nothing against it. I would, I would have no problem probably playing like, a set of T24s. But again, just kind of matching it up to other wedges and stuff like that. This one probably will leave, but I really do like it. And honestly, it'll probably go in my rack with my other wedges, and it'll probably go in the rotation and still see some time, because it hasn't seen it enough yet where it's really worn the face or grooves, but just such a soft feeling wedge that it's tough to just toss it out. So, but realistically, it probably won't be in the starting rotation come next year. And then lob wedge, we're going with the end of the year with MG4 from TaylorMade in the Tiger Woods grind. So MG4 Tiger Woods grind, 60 degree with 11 degrees of bounce, kind of the multi-cambered sole on there. It's got a pre-worn leading edge, a little bit of trailing edge relief, a little bit wider sole though when you open it up, so it's not super narrow. And it's just a wedge that, for whatever reason, I don't necessarily get along as well with the 56. The sole on this, it just kind of glides through the turf. The turf interaction is really good with it. It's really fast. If you're super steep with it in really soft conditions, you might get a little bit of dig. But, if it's slightly firmer around the greens or anything like that, that pre-war leading edge lets you kind of just get that thing into the turf, let it glide across, pick the ball up, and get it up and onto the greens. So the raw face spins really well. It's really rough. It's kind of almost sandpaper feeling-ish. Yeah, that wears down a little bit in the areas where you hit it, but it just tends to be pretty versatile. Now, again, opening it crazy wide open and hitting a flop shot, the leading edge does come up a little bit, and I know Tiger's got the skill to kind of still hit that shot. I don't as much, but I don't open it up that heavy. I open it up a little bit, maybe open it up heavier up in a bunker if it's short-sided, but just been a really versatile and high-spin wedge. I really like this 60. And been playing it basically since it came out. As soon as I tried it, I really liked it, and it kind of stayed in the bag. So it's been there ever since. Chances of it staying in the bag, decent. I think this is decent. This is, the 60, I don't mind having a lob wedge that's a little different. Heck, I don't mind having 3 wedges that are all different. And I've liked the way this is played. So I've hit some other 60s. I've hit some stuff that I do like. But I think this has just as big a chance of staying in the bag as anything new does having knocking it out. So this has definitely got a chance of staying in the bag. I would say this is kind of that 50-50 ball. There may be something new that might knocks it out. It may knock out, keep the new thing at bay. So I think this is definitely something that is just going to be a chance thing. It's just going to depend on how something new plays and getting them on the course in the short game area side by side. So still a good chance that the MG4 Tiger Woods stays in the bag. So which I don't mind. I like the wedge a lot. So we'll see how it goes. And then putter, I know I talk about this putter way too much, or I did talk about this putter way too much, but it is the TaylorMade Spider X Proto with the milled face, and I basically went through and put a brand new shaft in it, so it's got a KBS GPS graphite shaft, GPS 120, and I put it around in my basement with it a lot when it came out. I liked it, and then finally took it out to an actual putting green, took it out with me when I traveled a little bit, and I honestly really like it. I think I like it a little bit more than the Bettinardi, even though the Bettinardi was kind of my go-to gamer. That this is kind of taken over, and for the same reasons I've talked about it before, I kind of like that it's got a little longer sight line. It's an unbroken sight line. The true path alignment is really good on it. But when you swing this, it still kind of swings like a mallet. It's got a little toe hang. It's got a forward CG to it. So while it doesn't feel exactly like the Bettinardi BBAW, it still has some of those kind of properties through the swing where it does want to rotate and shut a little faster than a typical mallet. And you do get a little bit more forgiveness out of it. I mean, it's not a ton. It's a little more forgiving than a blade. When it comes to mallets, it's probably a little less forgiving than a lot of high MOI mallets. But it's a good in-between. And then honestly, from putting in the new shaft, and hitting, the sound and feel is really solid. It's got just a touch of click to it. It's pretty muted. It's not a high-pitched click. Even though it's a pretty shallow mill, you still get a pretty soft feel on it, especially like a TP5 or something like that. It's definitely got a pretty soft feel. The Pro V1X, you're going to hear a little bit more of that audible click. But But overall, it's just been a putter that I feel like just a little bit more confidence with. I feel like those kind of in-betweeners, those like, 8-foot putts and stuff like that, I feel like I get them on line maybe a little bit better with this than I did with the Bettinardi. Now, the super short putts, the Bettinardi was almost automatic. It was just really good. This is pretty darn good. Intermediate putts, I think, are more solid with this, and then the lag putts are just kind of the lag putts. But I think I get the starting line more consistently online with this than I do the Bettinardi for those longer lag putts, and it's just a really good putter. And I know it's kind of cliche that it's a prototype and all this stuff, but it's just been really good. And the honestly the KBS Tour GPS just softens it up a touch. I feel like it does play a little bit different. The stiffer shaft in here compared to the standard stock steel. I like the feel of that. I feel like it adds a little bit of stability. It kind of gives you that face awareness of that where the putter is throughout the whole swing. It doesn't have that kind of flimsier feel of stock steel where you can kind of feel the head move a little bit or kind of oscillate in the swing. It just kind of gives it that stiffness, that tightness, and reduces just a touch of vibration, which again, just a little bit softer. And then it's got a lambkin deep etch on there, and this thing's been really good. I really liked it. It's I could probably bend it just a hair flat. I wouldn't mind maybe going just like 1 degree, maybe a touch upright. But so far I putted really well with it, and I've really liked the sound and feel. So right now, I think I would put this in the bag if I had to play, kind of a match against somebody, something for money or whatever. I would probably put this in the bag, and I feel like just putting wise, I'm just a little bit more consistent. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily better than the Bettinardi with this, but I think I'm just a little bit more consistent. I think I get the starting lines just a little bit better. Now, speed is still, you got to get the speed right, but I feel like there's just a few things that I've done really well with this, just slightly better than the Bettinardi. The Bettinardi, I think, is still going to make the rotation. I know there's some new BBs out. I haven't seen them in hand or anything like that, but I have seen there's new ones out. But we'll see. The Bettinardi, that was kind of my gamer for a year or so, and I made some putts with it, and it was a really solid putter. But I think moving on to something like a little bit of a mallet with some toe hang is definitely definitely something that I wanted to do, and it's worked out really well. So I really like this putter. Chances of it staying, man, I think this is again one of those. I want to call it a 50-50 ball, but it's probably less than that. There's probably a good chance that something else knocks it out. I still want to get a little bit more time with the AI, the AI mill number 8 that I have. I just got another, a PXG blade putter, a Brandon that has a plumber's neck. And then I've got another putter coming that I don't have yet that I can't talk about. We'll talk about that, talk about it next year. So, there's some stuff on the horizon. There's a couple putters again for next year that I've got actually sitting over here so that I forgot about that I've got to roll. So is there a chance this stays in the bag? Yes, I would actually like it to stay in the bag. I like it. Is there a chance that it leaves? Yeah, there definitely is. So I think this one's, again, I'll call it a 50-50 ball, but I think it's probably 40% it stays, 60% it goes. Just with my putting, it tends to be so streaky that something will jump in there and take its spot for a little while. Then it may make it back and go. But I think there's just with a bunch of putters coming out, there's probably just too good of a chance that I'll probably leave it for something else. So its brother, the Spider V, is still in my rotation over there. I really like that putter a lot. So it's going to be interesting to see if this one stays, but I really do like it, and I think it's a really solid putter, and I know it's kind of cliche because it's proto, but I've been a big fan, so we'll see if it stays, but I wouldn't guarantee it by any means. So that is putter, and then bag. I don't know yet. I've got a couple bags. The end of the year bag was, of course, my Callaway Fairway Plus because it works so well with my Moto Caddy. This year, I've now got the Pins and Aces player bag. I've got the Superstroke Pantheon hybrid. I've got now a PXG Darkness bag, hybrid bag. It's a little bigger. So I've got a couple bags here to mess around with. I've that I don't know. One of those will probably be the gamer. I'll probably move on to something new this year. As much as I don't know, I'm leaning towards the Super Stroke right now. I like the size. I like the way the legs kind of go into the little sheath when you're not using them. So for the Moto Caddy, it'll be really good. But that one will be interesting to see where that goes, because I don't really know bag-wise kind of where I'll end up. So we'll see, but that is kind of the what's in the bag. That is 2023, what's in the bag. And again, nothing's safe. Nothing has pure immunity. So anything could go at any time, and it's going to be exciting to hit some other stuff against it and see what stays and what goes. So that's all I've got today. I know this episode kind of ran on, kind of got long, but that's just the way it goes, I guess. So if you're not following me on Instagram, please do @ClubJunkiePod. I'm going to try to do a Q&A today. I didn't do it Wednesday when I'm recording this. I didn't do it Wednesday because I was at the office most of the day waiting for some stuff to show up for some new product. So I'll do it Thursday or today. So go follow me there, ask some questions. Let's talk some golf equipment. And then, if you're watching this on YouTube, please like, subscribe, all that. That'd be awesome. Wherever you're listening to the podcast, like, subscribe, 5-star it, whatever the heck you can do. I would truly appreciate it. I know 2024, I would like to keep growing this thing. So if you could help the algorithm in any way, that would be awesome. So hopefully you guys have a great holiday. If you celebrate Christmas, enjoy it. If you're traveling, please travel safe. You don't have to rush there. And if the weather's bad or whatever, travel safe, get there safe. Hopefully you enjoy some time with family, friends, whoever. And we'll talk after the holiday, before the new year, and we'll knock out one more episode before we head into 2024 and all the excitement that'll bring. So hopefully you guys have a great holiday. We'll talk to you next week.